At least all the research that I have seen strongly suggests that males are more likely to be autistic than females. And sometimes we read things into that just are not there. For example, sometimes we'll say that she can't be an Aspie because she's a she. Well, that's kind of silly. I mean, there are a lot of women, a lot of females who have Asperger syndrome, and I strongly believe that, or suspect, I should say, that my youngest sister, who died like 35 years ago, but I strongly believe that she was probably an Aspie. But why do we overlook these people? Well, one of the reasons is because they tend to be smart. They tend to be intelligent. Now, smart women know how to figure things out. And they learn very quickly that being an Aspie may not be in their best interest, particularly when it comes to socializing. So because they are smart people, what they often do is they figure out a way to get around it. Well, that takes us to number 2, and that is masking. That is one of the ways that they get around it. Women are very good at masking. Some men are good at it too. They're very good at, particularly narcissists, they're very good at scamming people. They're very good at romance scams. Some men are, some narcissistic men are. But women have this trait where they're just really good, and they kind of like, the dress up. They like to put on the makeup. I don't know what the statistics are, but women's clothing far outsells men's clothing because men, we're not that particular. We can wear the same shirt 10 days in a row and the same socks. We're perfectly okay with it. Well, some of us aren't. But women, they're not like that. They like frilly things, usually. Not all of them. Talk about that in a second. But they like to look good. They like to dress up, put it that way. So they're really good at masking. It comes natural to them. And if you happen to be a woman, a female who is an Aspie, I almost said a maskie. If you're a female who is an Aspie, then masking comes natural to you, where with a guy, we got to kind of work at it. We got to figure out this thing. Number 3 is I noticed that some females who are Aspies who have autism, they sometimes prefer male friends. And when I heard that, I wondered, well, why would that be? And I think the reason is because they don't naturally fit in with a girly crowd. They don't fit in with that crowd. So if they want to be social, they got to go to the guys. Now, another thing we find is guys tend to think more like Aspies. That is to say, we tend to be more, what is the word I'm looking for? Technical, maybe, in our approach to things, and less emotional. That is why women tend to be nurses, and men, sometimes they make it, but by and large, men would rather be mechanics and bricklayers. So I know that may not be politically correct, but we're not interested in politics. We're interested in mental health. We're interested in the science of it, not how people want to manipulate the science. So we find that many female Aspies just prefer to be around guys because they fit in a little bit better. Number 4 is female Aspies tend to approach burnout just a little bit differently. And I don't know that it's hugely differently because I'm not a female, obviously. I'm not sure I know what's going on in their mind, but if you are a woman, you're a female, you can help us in the comments section. Say, maybe it is a little bit different, or at least here's what I go through when it comes to burnout. Now, burnout typically is just where we break down and we stop functioning properly. And that is something that is very easy for me to do. It's very easy for me, and this is a major flaw, but I just walk away. Probably the biggest mistakes, I should say, in my life were when I had involvement with a person or with a group, and I became frustrated and confused, a little bit angry, but largely it was just confusion. I just didn't know how to handle it, so the best thing I could do, just walk away from it. I recall when I was 18 years old, and I had a wonderful girlfriend. I mean, just wonderful. And she did something that was a little bit offensive, and I didn't know what to do. I was a little bit angry, a little bit offensive, a little bit hurt, but like 99% confused. What am I going to do? I'm just going to get out of this relationship, so I just walked away. I wish I hadn't done that. What I wish I would have done was at least had the courtesy to talk to her and say, this is what's going on in my mind. And even if we broke things off, at least I could have given her a courtesy of just not a cold walk away. And one time I was in a singing group about the same time, and things weren't going right, and I was just very confused. I didn't know where my place was within the social context of the group. So I just walked away, didn't tell anybody. I just left. I mean, how dumb is that? That's pretty stupid. But that's part of burnout, that confusion. Number 5, we find that females who are Aspies, sometimes they talk too much. Well, all of us talk too much on occasion, but women tend to be better at verbal skills than men. That's just one of the ways they excel. Now, when my grandson, I think he turned 10, 11, somewhere there, he had a birthday party, and my daughter had all these kids come over to the house, to their house, and they had cake and played games, whatever. And I noticed the difference. Now, what happened between the guys and the girls? What happened was the girls gathered together under the swing set, which was under a tree, and they just sat around and talked, and they had a blast. They had fun. What were the guys doing? They were horse playing and playing ball, throwing the ball back and forth. They were talking too, but nowhere nearly as intensive. They were more likely to yell than to talk. That was their way of conversing. Catch this, if you can catch this. Or go out for a long one. That was their communication. But if you look at the girls, and these are kids, 10, 11 years old, they didn't have a lot of time to be impressed by society and culture, but they were really good at interacting and communicating one with another. Well, because of that, sometimes you get yourself in trouble if you overdo it. And females who are Aspies can do the same thing. Now, they may not be as good at talking as neurotypical females, but they would still have an edge over just the neurotypical guy sometimes. So they tend to just talk too much and say too many things, share too much about their personal life, whatever. Number 6 is when it comes to special interest, how are females different? Well, we find that girls, and we mentioned this at the very onset, the females who are Aspergians, who are autistic, tend to excel in math. They keep up with the guys. Maybe that's one of the reasons they prefer boys to be friends. But they're very good, some of them, not all, but they're very good in math. And they're very good at some of these types of special interest. And that sets them apart from everyone else. That makes them a little bit different. And they double down on this, some of them. They will just focus on something and focus on it. And sometimes they will stay with it for their entire lives. But, what woman doesn't like to curl up with a novel, with a good book? I don't know any guys who curl up with a book. I don't know too many guys who read fiction. I'm sure some of them do. They'd rather go to the movies and, watch the blood and gore and the action and all that. Where the women, they want to get them a, cup of tea and a blanket and a cozy fire and curl up with a book. I can't imagine. My idea of reading a book is not a fictional book. I want to read something that is real. Now, maybe I'm missing something. If you're a woman and I get this wrong, well, if I got any of those things wrong, or you can add something to it, well, that's why we have a comment section. So feel free just to plug your opinions in. See those 2 rectangles on the screen? Let's talk some more if you want. Just click one of those 2 rectangles and it will continue the conversation. If not, thanks for stopping by and see y'all next time.